Masculinity, having qualities appropriate to or usually associated with a man. Masculinity in advertising. In advertising, men are often portrayed in the following ways: alert and conscious of surroundings, standing upright, eyes opened and looking around, bodies are controlled, there's a mean expression on their face, they're either gripping things tightly with their hands or their hands are in their pockets, serious, and they're all physically active. Bravery, adventureness, being able to think rationally, being strong and effective, for example, are all manly traits that are usually encouraged. So also are the ability to think independently and take the initiative. Media images supporting these behaviors include the strong, silent Marlboro Man and military ads, telling young men to be all you can be.
Masculinity in advertising started in 1905 with the arrow-collared man and lasted until 1931. This campaign focused on a sophisticated, successful, more clean-cut man that sold collared shirts. The campaign was seen as very successful. Next we move on to Commander Whitehead, the Schweppes man. This campaign lasted in the 1950s through the 60s, which was targeting tonic water. This guy could be seen doing more rugged activities such as mountain climbing, Arctic exploring, but could also be on a more sophisticated setting, like a dinner party with beautiful women. It was a more well-rounded masculine man. In 1954, Marlboro cigarettes introduced the Marlboro Man. This campaign lasted from 1954 to 1999. This is seen as one of the most successful advertising campaigns, which were to popularize filtered cigarettes, which were considered feminine. So then in turn they used a rugged cowboy in order to appeal to a more masculine crowd. In the late 1970s, Camel cigarettes introduced Joe Camel, a more badass take on what a masculine man would be. In 1970, Brawny introduced the Brawny Man. The rugged 1970s version was later replaced with the more clean-shaven man to adhere to the more metrosexual concern with vanity that masculinity has taken. Old Spice was the pioneer in what the modern advertisement of a masculine man should look like. In this campaign, Old Spice was one of the first well-known national commercials to cast a black actor. This set the stage for the chiseled, sexified, well-rounded man, as clearly shown in the Manly Test commercial.
I used to think it didn't matter what deodorant I chose. Dumb. This test shows that Old Spice is the right choice. Old Spice performs in real man situations like basketball, recon, and Frenching. Try Old Spice, and if you still don't think it's awesome, call 1-800-PROVE-IT, and they'll buy you a stick of something that smells like wildflowers and shame. Take the Old Spice challenge. I did.
One of the most famous corrections in masculinity in advertising was the lawsuit on Abercrombie and Fitch for discrimination in advertisement and employment by African Americans, Asians, and Latinos. Before 2003, opening an Abercrombie and Fitch catalog, you'd see very muscular, chiseled chins, aggressive, stoic men, but they would all be white. However, after 2004, after the lawsuit and Abercrombie & Fitch was found guilty, you could see a few more diversified men in their catalogs. Potential trajectory for masculinity in advertisement would be this movement towards a more realistic male. In this, I mean a less aggressive, more feminine features, not so strong, shows more emotion, and has a more average, realistic muscle build. The image of this heterosexual man creates an unrealistic ideal for the definition of a masculine man. This adheres to a hegemonic culture, which is white, heterosexual, aggressive, muscular, that ignores minorities and subcultures. Due to the image that hypermasculinity has portrayed, the polar opposite would be homosexuality, which completely alienates the gay population. There has been a trend in some of the advertising agencies that have launched ad campaigns that show a pattern of hegemonic masculine ideals. Two examples would be the Wyden and Kennedy advertising firm. They're responsible for the Old Spice commercials, Nike campaign for the Just Do It, ESPN, and Miller Brewing, which has the High Life Man. Another one would be the Leo Burnett Worldwide advertising firm, which is responsible for the creation of the Marvel Man. Masculine advertising is usually marketing hygiene products, alcohols, and perceived feminine products such as light beers, filtered cigarettes, and diet sodas.
The socio-economic conditions of masculinity are significant to that they affect our social process by determining what makes you a man in the eyes of the public and social media. With the question of manhood always in the air, it is important to know just how the public eye interprets what makes a man a man. Depending on the advertisement, masculinity can be interpreted in many ways. On one side, you could have a rugged mountain man, living off the land, and also drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper, thus giving the notion that Diet Dr. Pepper is a man's drink.
There's no such thing as no man's land to me. A man just needs a place where he can be wild and free. 10 calories.
Dr. Pepper 10, manliest low-calorie soda in the history of mankind. Bold flavor.
Or, on the other side, you can have a sophisticated, handsome man in a suit and tie, displaying his masculinity by wearing Old Spice cologne and in the presence of fierce animals. The notion of masculinity is very skewed in the eyes of the public because there are various forms of masculinity. A huge impact on our social process is determined by how an individual perceives masculinity.
Targeted advertising uses distinct media platforms, such as magazines. The top 10 man magazines are Men's Health, Maxim, Esquire, GQ, Men's Fitness, Details, Complex Magazine, Men's Journal, Muscle and Fitness, and Reps. A couple, for example, like Men's Health magazine, offers information to help men look good, feel great, and take control of their lives. Each issue of Men's Health magazine features articles of fitness, health, careers, relationships, nutrition, sex, and then general interests. GQ, on the other hand, is a magazine that is written for young professional men, with features on the latest in men's fashion, new gadgets, and entertainment. GQ magazine keeps the modern man up to date with the hottest trends, or so it claims. All of the magazines show men who are hot, sexy, muscular, in great shape, and can get any woman they want in bed because of the tips in these magazines, with titles such as Sex of Your Dreams, Sex Moves That She Craves, and More Sex, Better Sex. Under these titles, they have famous men that are well-known playboys that women go crazy for. These men are usually in tight shirts or shirtless to show their arm muscle, abs, and usually some badass tattoos. Some of the titles that are next to them are Lose Your Gut, Shred Your Abs, or Build UFC Muscles. All things that all men should strive for, according to the magazine.